And welcome back to the second segment of our show this morning, where we're going to be having a discussion with representatives of the Belize Social Security Board on the direct deposits. Some of you would have known that this has been implemented, and they're just providing us with an update. That being said, we have with us this morning General Manager for Corporate Customer Relations Service at the SSB, Chandra Cansino. Good morning.
Good morning.
We also have with us the Manager, Finance and Financial Risk Management, that is Nabi Reyes.
Good morning.
Ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Direct deposit. What's up with direct deposit?
Good morning, and thanks again for having us on the show. As we had discussed at the our last meeting here, we are committed to engaging more with the public on everything concerning Social Security Board, the Social Security Board. And so we are here today to give an update and to share some of the timelines involved. As you may be aware, we launched our new 2018-2022 strategic plan in January of this year, and we're sticking to our strategic objectives. We have 5 main objectives, and maybe I can just say them quickly. The first one is improve our customer relations. The second one is financially sustainable Social Security Fund. We have improving the image of Social Security. We also have the empowered and enabled workforce and improve health outcomes. So those are our 5 strategic objectives. And everything that we do at Social Security for the next 5 years is related to those. This direct deposit is one of those initiatives that basically applies to 2 of the objectives, which would be the improved customer service and the financially sustainable Social Security Fund, simply because it will alleviate some of the expenses that we engage or that we have because of checks and all the procedures that go along with it. We issue tens of thousands of checks on every year, and they're very expensive, and so this will help with alleviating those costs, and as well as giving that customer now the opportunity to get their benefit straight from their bank account and it's going to become mandatory on October the 1st. So maybe Nabi can give a little bit more information.
Good morning. Thank you once again. Indeed, the direct deposit is geared mainly towards improving the service that we're offering to our insured persons that access services from the Social Security Board. What we have done in June last year, we did a pilot project which lasted June to December, that we saw the voluntary sign up of our insured persons for the direct deposit service. This year, what we are doing is making it mandatory. And so come October 1st this year, all the benefits that Social Security processes for our insured persons will be made via direct deposit. Social Security has partnered with Atlantic Bank, and we're using the APS-3 system that's offered by Central Bank, which really provides a wonderful service for any person that does banking. It makes transfers and deposits so much easier between banks and their networks. And so we're going to piggyback on that service, and we are offering the service with any financial institution and credit unions, right? And so any insured person who already has a bank account or a credit union account will be able to receive their benefit deposited directly into that account. Again, we're also working with credit unions, although they are not fully on the APS-3 system. We are working with Atlantic Bank in providing the same type of service with the credit unions. So insured persons would really just, when they come in to make a claim, they would need to provide their banking information to our customer service agents. And once a claim is processed for payment, that payment will be processed by our staff and deposited directly to their account at the end of that business day. This is a tremendous improvement from what Social Security is currently doing. Right now we're processing checks, and IPs, insured persons, need to come back into the office and pick up their checks, walk over to the bank. Most banks are instituting bank charges or cash checking fees. and so our insured persons need to now incur additional cost to access that benefit. And so what this service is doing is pretty much making it so much easier for insured persons to have access to their money by using a lot of
ATM
people go
card.
to their point of sale machines or their ATM cards. So if your payment is processed on a Friday, you're able to access your funds over the weekend.
Yeah.
So,
So you said before that it was something that you could have volunteered for, could have gone in and updated my information, but now it will be mandatory starting next month.
it's mandatory come October 1st, 2018. Of course, there's going to be a transition period.
Yeah.
Right now, what we're doing is reaching out to all the large employers, asking them for to reach out to their staff to have voluntary sign up, because we want to make it as easy as possible for the insured person when they come in.
Yeah.
And so, of course, there's going to be a transition period, but right now what we're doing is just encouraging persons come in, sign in, give us your banking information. What you need to bring in is just the copy of your bank card that has your account number and your name, or you can, if you do online banking, you can print out a copy of that online banking information, or your credit union book, or if your employer is able to certify the bank account that you use to access your salaries, then we would also accept that. Right now, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for the insured person to do that.
So it is on an individual basis that people have to provide this information. It's not being passed on through the employer.
Not mandatory. What we are doing as an outreach is reaching out to the employers if they would like to give that service to their employees. And we're encouraging, it's actually easier for us to do that rather than putting the onus on the insured person. So if the person comes in, we're going to ask them for their information. But if the employer, right now the branch offices are going to coordinate with all the large employers. And so hopefully we can get most of the information through that means.
And that would take care of the large employers, but we have so many of the not smaller employers and individual workers. What would happen with those persons is when they go to make a claim, all they would need to do at the point of making the claim is provide the banking information. We anticipate that there may be some persons that might not have a bank account. And those persons, well, we have been communicating with the banks. Some of the banks have offered to drop the minimum requirement for opening a bank account. We'll try to get them in and around the branch offices at the time that we go mandatory, so that they would be able to facilitate that process for them. And try to make the process as easy as possible. Most workers, I think we're at that point in Belize. Most workers do have a bank account and do have financial transactions, but especially in the informal sector, we do have a sizable amount of persons that may not have a bank account, and so we have to work with those persons.
Having the bank account is one thing, but the entire online transactions issue, I think, is one where I still kind of get there. Some people half in, half out, and some really just like that validation of being there personally to query anything, especially when it comes to their claim. What's going to be the process if someone goes in and files a claim and then...
What we are doing, we're trying to make it as convenient and as safe as possible, secure, as well keeping the insured person part of the loop in terms of how the claim is processed. And so at the time when you are registering for the service, we're going to ask you for your email or your employer's email. And so when your claim is processed, you will get an email indicating whether your benefit claim has been approved and the rate that you are going to be paid. When the payment is being processed, you will also get an email indicating that the payment has been processed and deposited to your bank account. So we're trying to ensure that the insured person does not need to come into the bank to access information, but if they need to, they can. The employers are also part of the process because right now, a lot of employers pay their employees their full salary when they're on sick leave, and then they recover that fund from Social Security. Obviously, there won't be any more checks that the insured person will be able to hand over to the employer. And so it's important for the employers to know that they internally will have to change their process to recover those funds from the salaries of their employees. So that's a big change that's going to happen with the employers. because this impacted Social Security as an employer as well.
Yeah.
And so we have piloted it with our staff members. We started the pilot internally on August 1st. And so there were changes that we had to make to our payroll process to ensure that Social Security as an employer was able to recover from Social Security the insurance.
And
Right?
what system did you use? Because I'd imagine an employer saying, hold on, how am I
Yes.
going to get back? What is it, 80% of my my
insurable
employee's
Of the insurable
salary
earnings, yes.
Yes.
After Social Security has already given them the funds?
Right. So
And it's in their account.
It's in their account. So what Social Security has done was actually use the benefit letter, and that is why we found that it would be important for the employers to get a copy of the benefit letter as well,
Yeah.
of indicating to the insured person what their benefit payment would be. And so what Social Security has done was use that benefit letter to process the deduction in their salaries the following pay period.
Okay.
So it's really a communication between the employer and employee. It's very important.
From your pilot in-house, how fluid was this transition? How fluid was this process?
It has had its challenges, but it's now mid-September, and when I spoke to the HR unit, I believe it was about 2 weeks ago, they have actually perfected the process. Our branch office has, and this is also a commitment that we're making to the employers as well, that we are able to provide them with a report of all the benefits that's paid to their employees for a month, right? Of course, the employer needs to let us know their email address, and they need to update their information so that the information that we provide to them is accurate. And so the constant communication between Social Security, the employee, and the employer would be very important.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
with the smaller employers, because I'm familiar with one in particular, because this is about 4 staff members, so it's easy to know when your staff is sick
Yeah.
or when your staff. And so what the employer they did was just verify with Social Security what will be the payment. And so when the person's salary was paid for that week, they deducted the relevant amount from Social Security and then just paid the difference to the employer. So again, it goes back to communication.
Is the timing on point? Does the Social Security deposit happen before the deduction from the employer?
Our Social Security payments are tied to the date of the claim.
Okay.
So it's when the claim is made, our payment would be made. Right now, it's within 4 working days.
Okay.
No, sorry, it's within 4 working days. Right now, it will be less under the direct deposit procedure, but it really depends, because if it's sick leave in the middle of the week, perhaps the person has already been paid for the period. So it depends, but there are ways around it, and what it would probably mean is that the employer will have to get a little bit more empowered with the knowledge of calculation of the benefits from Social Security, and we're willing to provide any information that they might need in that regard.
How has the voluntary registration process been going?
Well, surprisingly, most people do not like going into the banks and standing in line and incurring charges. And so what we saw last year was that the majority of persons that walked into the office were signing up. Of course, it was a pilot, and so what we're anticipating is that the service will be well received within the public, especially people who work 8 to 5. They don't need to be asking for time off to go and cash checks, or for employers to be liaising with employees, go and pick up your check so that you can sign it over. The employers would be able to do that seamlessly through their payroll system. So it's an advantage for Social Security and for the insured person.
So at this point, what will happen if you have a claim is you'd only need to have one direct contact with Social Security. I have a claim, maybe I was sick and I need to go in, or maternity benefits coming up, or injured on the workplace. I go in, I make my claim with your representative there, and that's it. My next follow-up will be an email letting me know if it's been processed.
If it's been approved or disallowed.
Okay.
Of course, we'll give you a reason if it is disallowed.
Okay.
If it has been approved, you will be advised that your payment will be processed on such a date, and on that date you will also get another email stating that your payment has been processed and has been deposited to your bank account.
And that communication will include the employer as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Once
then-
the employer signs up with the Social Security Board, and it also provides us with the current email address.
So
That
then,
will also happen.
as the insured person, once I've taken care of my claim, that's all I will need to do, because
That's all you'll need
any
to do.
further payment will come directly into my account,
Yes.
and whatever the employer needs to take out, they will take out on their own from
On
my
their
next
own,
salary.
yes.
Correct.
That's
And then
correct.
this is the initial stages,
Yeah.
and so we're looking to also using text messages to inform, because people are so mobile
Connected
now
to
with
their
their
phones.
as opposed to email. So all of that will be enhancements that we will look forward to perhaps next year in the future, and try to make the adjustments as we go along. If the customers are concerned about anything, they can visit our branch offices, they can reach out to us. We have our Facebook page. We get a lot of questions and queries on our messenger, the messenger, Facebook Messenger, all day long, and we have no problem answering the questions. And so when we say like us on Facebook, it's not for popularity, it's for the purpose of information, because we are now using that as a medium to share a lot of more information than we were in the past. And so when we say like us on Facebook, like us, but so that you can be informed. We're not Beyonce, and we're not, we don't
And so you
need,
can ask your questions directly
right,
as well.
and you can ask that directly, and our response time is within minutes in most cases.
So how do I know if my employer has already passed on this information? Should I follow up with Social Security and find out if my account is already in the system?
Yes. Well, what employers I know are doing is because for you, your bank information is very sensitive. It's personal as well. And so what the employers are doing is also getting permission from you as an employee to provide that information to Social Security Board. So you will know if the employer has provided your banking information.
Okay.
However, you are encouraged to come in to check and update your account with your current email address, your current phone number, so that you are able to access the notifications when those benefits are processed.
And you don't have to come when you are making a claim. You can, if you can message
the
us,
time.
and we can guide you as the easiest way to make that, to update it, so that if in the future you make a claim, or then you don't have to,
One
your
less thing
information,
you'll have to
one
take
less
care
thing you'll
of.
have to do. Yes.
Will this cut down the processing time
Yes.
for claims?
Yes. So, for example, for the sickness benefit, we're looking at our service standards right now. We're reviewing those, but the process of processing a direct deposit is much shorter than issuing a check. Just for background information, I was looking at the amount of stale dated checks that we have at our office. Just through to June, we had over $200,000 that was that we have just sitting at our office, waiting for insured persons to come and pick up. And so people that actually should get their benefit, because their employers are making the payments directly to them. They don't feel the need to come in to pick up their checks. Of course, that's a loss to the employer, right? And so getting this benefit, it will be before the end of the business day once the payment is processed. It will reduce our processing time for making that payment. The time for you to access the funds will be same day once it has hit your bank account. But also for all the other benefits, we're hoping that
And
it will be reduced.
It will reduce, and this isn't new, because for a pension, if you're a pensioner, you will know that your pensions are paid only through direct deposit.
Yes.
So it's not something new for Social Security. It's just trying to extend
Expand.
that to the short-term benefits as well, for security and safety as well of your money.
So have there been any challenges in rolling out the program so far?
Well, the challenges really have been with the credit unions, just because of the limitations that there are in terms of their connectivity with the APS3 system.
Which ones are on the system currently?
I don't believe any credit union is on the system. However, Atlantic Bank has, because most of them, or several of them, bank with Atlantic Bank. Atlantic Bank is able to facilitate that direct deposit for us,
Okay.
similar to what they do with the other banking institutions.
Okay.
That makes it seamless for you as a member of a credit union. Really, the difference for you might be that the processing time is just a little bit more, but it should not extend. It should not extend beyond 24 hours.
Okay.
So really,
so if I'm only a credit union member, I'm still going to be able to get a direct deposit?
Yes, you are still able, and it's already ongoing. We have a lot of persons that are already accessing their benefit payment that bank with credit unions.
Okay.
So it does work.
All right. And so since it does become mandatory October 1st, this is a good time to go in and update your information.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So encourage everybody to come in, bring a copy of your online statement that shows your the name on your account and your bank information, and our customer service agents are going to update your information, and once your claim comes in for processing, you will be advised of the approval or disallow if it's going to be disallowed, and once the payment is made directly to your account, you will also get a message indicating that.
All right. Well, thank you for keeping us in the loop, and I think especially when changes are being made, it's very important people know it ahead of time. So come October 1st, when they take in a claim, they should know that the only way the money will be dispersed is through their bank account.
Yes.
So best of luck, and thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go ahead and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.